Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am going to be participating in the Craft with Julie 2000 subscriber hop. So congratulations, Julie, for hitting another milestone here on YouTube. And this is Julie's station. If you have not subscribed to her YouTube channel, please go over and give her a subscribe because she is really doing some beautiful things. And today I'm going to do a couple of her layouts. I'm going to do one on camera with you and show you another. And I'm going to be using one of my favorite paper packs that's from Stampin' Up. But I'm going to go down here and show you. Here are the layouts. And there's actually some cards too for a virtual craft day. And she does these virtual craft days with her customers, and the layouts and cards are just simply adorable. So I'm going to talk through the process of putting together one of these layouts, and I'm going to show you another one that I made. And I've pretty much emulated what she did for this virtual craft day last summer. So here we go. So I am going to be using what remainder I have of frames and flowers. This is a beautiful paper pack, and it comes with some die cut images and some frames and then some beautiful papers. And I am incorporating some of my old close to my heart cardstock that I'm finishing up as well. So I'm going to go ahead and cut everything down to make this layout. Now, I do not have Julie's measurements. I do not have her instruction guide, but it doesn't look like it's too hard to emulate. It looks like I have two wider bands of paper here and two thinner bands of paper here, and I can kind of use the mat along the sides to get an idea of sizes. So that's what I'm doing, and it looks like she has a good maybe ½ inch all the way around. And what else do we have? We've got four 4x6 photos that are portrait orientation, and I've got two landscape orientation 3x4s, and they are all matted. Okay, so I'm going to do the exact same process for the right and left page, and I will just show it to you for one of those pages. I have Willow White for my base page, and then from the frames and flowers, I have DSP, two larger ones, two that are a little bit smaller, and then I'm going to come in with my pretty Peacock Stampin' pad. Now, I have noticed that on a lot of Julie's videos, she has what I would call some pretty duplicatable backgrounds. Like, I didn't have her measurements. I was able to go through and find something that looks kind of close so that I could make a layout like hers. And they're really easy to reproduce, and I like that because she does such beautiful layouts that sometimes I would like to make one like hers. So she's just one of those people you want to scrap lift, right? So what I also notice is even though it's pretty simple for the background, they are elevated by the techniques that she brings in. And one of the very common ones that she does is that she inks the edges of her papers so they stand out. Had I not inked this first one, it really would have blended in even more to the background, but just inking the edges really makes a difference, and it elevates the page. It's the small details, right? And this is one of those fine details that she always does. Now, would you have to? Absolutely not. It's just the little extra touch that is pretty signature for Craft with Julie. And so I'm going to go through, and I'm still getting used to Stampin' Up Stampin' pads. And what I must confess is I'm a complete mess. I get ink all over me like crazy, but I have accumulated a lot of these Stampin' spots from doing so many of the kits. I absolutely love the Stampin' Up! Kits. And at first I felt like I was cheating by using their card kits, and now I've just fell in love with them, and I like how many cards I can knock out. I think last night I knocked out maybe 8 cards. I had a little kit together here, and even with sitting and talking and taking orders and everything else, I was still able to knock out 8 cards. Super simple and fast. And many of those kits, if there is a stamp set with them, they come with an acrylic block. They come with one of these little Stampin' spots. And so I grab those, and I tend to ink my edges much better with these, because then my hands don't look a complete wreck. So I keep thinking this is upside down, then I turn it this way and I think this is upside down. It's pretty much the same both ways. So I'm going to do that for both pages, and then I'm going to adhere them down even, of course. So here is where I brought in some close to my heart cardstock. I used my Harbor cardstock as mats for my photos, and I brought in some photo placeholders that I had from close to my heart as well, because I have a plethora of them in my stash and I love them. And it gives me an extra mat of color to put behind my photos. So I will trim my 4x6 photos down to like 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. Then the next thing that I did was bring in the ephemera, and there's tons of ephemera in this pack. I have already created layouts. I have already created cards, and there's still so much ephemera. So I kind of figured out the grouping that I wanted to have, and then I just glued them down, starting with the very bottom layers, and then I just kept nipping and tucking them in and using a fine tip glue bottle. And when I did that, I did not glue where it was over the actual photo spot. That way I could slide my photo up underneath these pretty little flowers and sprigs and leaves, and it just looks so nice. So I just tucked them up and in, and can you see? I have room to still put a photo in. And then some of these I even just tore down. You don't have to get out your scissors if you're tucking it in, right? And that photo mat, I knew I would be tucking underneath, so I didn't even glue it down very much. And I just made sure I had stuff going around. And you notice I've done 3 different clusters. On my left layout, it was on the bottom left, and on the right layout, it's in the middle at the top. I guess it would be the top left, and then the bottom right. And that gave me 3 nice clusters. And then there were these beautiful, like coral looking little flowers. And I just used some of the dimensionals on those and popped them up on all 3 clusters, and it gave it some really nice dimension that I could add to my layout. And then I also brought in some dots. I think these are like some gold sparkles, and I brought those in and just added those around each cluster, and it just gave it a little bit of extra bling. And I kind of kept referring to Julie's to see how much ephemera, how much sparkle she might add to something, and I really like how it turned out. I can't wait to find some photo opportunity and take some pictures and get these on here. I also came in with an old sticker sheet from Close to My Heart that's called Stitch Together. And I was like trying to decide. I like the Good Times, but it just was like a gray, and I didn't like it as well, and I wanted it a little darker. So I brought in my pretty Peacock Stampin' pad, the same that I used to edge my different DSP, and I just used that to ink up the Good Times so that it was a little bit darker, and it went with the layout just a little bit better, and it was the perfect shade to put on here, and it really matches those photo mats that I made that were from Harbor Cardstock. It looked perfect with it. So there's the first layout, and I really like how it turned out. I hope Julie likes it too. And then I did decide to give you a little sneak peek a little bit closer at these different clusters and how I embellished them and added the extras to them. Okay, next I'm going to give you a screenshot of Julie's hands and the other layout that I made as well. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so there's her layout, and now here is my layout. And again, I used the title was from the Stitched Together sticker sheet from Close to My Heart. I did use Sweet Leaf cardstock and the Harbor cardstock from Close to My Heart as well. Congratulations, Julie, and make sure you check out all the other girls on the hop.